we've always had psychic abilities. They've always been there. We were born with them. That's part of our normal makeup.
Yes.
But, with the way humans are, it just gets pushed aside. When you're a child, the parents and everybody said, no, don't talk about anything like that to anybody. They'll think you're crazy, think the devil possessed you. And so instead of talking about, gee, Mommy, I remember when I was the mommy and you were the baby, things like that, or I saw something in my room last night, they just tell them, don't talk about it, and they push it aside. So a lot of us have it, but we've just buried it. But it's coming back. These abilities are starting to surface right now. After the more you use it, and it's like riding a bicycle, the more you practice it and use it, then it becomes more and more natural to where it won't bother you after a while to have these intuitions and feelings. We're able to see the doorway into the next dimension for the first time. It's always just been invisible. For those of you who don't know what portals are, I've written about them. I think it was in Convoluted Universe, Book 3, about portals and windows. And a portal is supposed to be something you can go through, you can travel through, to go through time or go into another dimension. And this is the way the ETs travel. They go back and forth through portals and through dimensions. They don't have a certain kind of fuel for their craft to go so many miles an hour to get out to that next star. It's done with lowering the vibrations and frequencies of the craft, just like in Star Trek when they just say engage and there they go. Right. But the people have gone back and forth through these portals also, and they're used for time travel and for interdimensional travel. But that's a portal. There's also windows. You can go through a portal, but a window is one that you can see through into the other dimension, and people have reported things like that that are very weird. But you can see through, but you can't travel through. In one of my sessions, it was interesting. They said they had portals that you would move, and I didn't know you could move a portal. I thought it was stationary in one place.
Right.
And they said, oh, no, we can move them if we have to. So I'm always learning something new, that it is possible to move a portal from one place to the other. These things are happening all around us. We just don't know it because we're so concentrated on our physical, concrete world that we can see. But they're there, and that's what I think is happening. The veil's thinning. Things are changing so much with the vibrations and frequencies. Maybe now we're going to be able to see these portals. But it makes sense. The government's always trying to cover things up. They're so afraid that things are going to freak us humans out if we know what's really happening out there. I've had so many strange things that people have told me. And then when I tell them about dimensions and frequencies and things, it makes them feel better because they understand maybe this is what it is. We don't have the answers to everything, but at least we're still searching, and there's a lot more out there than we know. See, that's what they've told me. One of the big things you have to do now that things are changing and we're moving into the new earth is to let go of fear. Fear is a paralyzing emotion. It's the strongest emotion a human has, and if we don't understand something, we're going to be afraid of it. The idea is to let go of fear and ask questions, ask lots and lots of questions. Like here again, the government, like with this other things, they tell you things. A lot of the things they'll tell you is to make you afraid, to hold you in fear. You've got to start thinking for yourself. Ask questions. If it doesn't make sense, ask lots and lots of questions and make up your own mind. Your truth may not be my truth, but at least it's something you have come to with your own investigations. And then it can change. It can change months later or a year later. You might find something else that you believe in. We're evolving, and this is fine. What we learned as a child doesn't serve us now. We've grown. We move on. What I knew as a child, that child wouldn't understand me at all now because we're the same person, but yet we have changed and moved on. We grow and we evolve. This is some of the people that come to me are still holding on to things that happened to them when they were a child, things that were done to them. And we all have things that are not pleasant. We all have bad things that happen because that's life. And some of the clients do. They're holding on to things that happened when they were 3, 4, 5 years old. They've never let it go. That's not good, because you have to release it. You have to let it go. It's the only way to move on. You can't have anger about something that happened way back there.
Right.
Release it, let it go. You have to forgive the people involved. That's one of the things people tell me, well, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did to me. But you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting them. Many times, some of the clients I see are older, and all the characters are dead, and they're still holding on to this. And it is about releasing, letting it go, and moving on. And I know it's not easy. We've all had bad things happen. But I always tell people, what did you learn from it? You look at the bad experience. What did you learn from it? If you learned one thing, that was the purpose of it. That was the reason. People say, well, I didn't learn anything. Well, then you're going to have to go through it again. I have clients that have drawn the same circumstances again and again and again in their life, and they don't realize it's because they haven't figured it out. Once they do, they say, oh, that's what it was trying to teach me. Now I got it. Then they can move on. Look what the world is doing to me. Look what God is doing to me. Many of these people, this is what's making them sick. It's causing all kinds of illnesses. And why drag all that old junk and baggage and garbage around with you? Better to get rid of it and move on. Yeah, but this is all part of what we have to do now. And they've told me to tell this to the world, and that's what I'm saying it in all of my lectures now. This is getting rid of karma. Now is the time. No more karma. Used to be, it would take lifetime after lifetime. 30, 40 years ago, we were dragging all this stuff around with us, and it just took so long. But now, it's time to let it go, because we're moving into something truly fantastic. The whole world is out there waiting for you, and you're not going to be able to step out and enjoy it and find what your path is as long as you're hanging on to this ties to the past. A lot of these people, they have these people in their life who've been causing them all this torment all their life, and they're still there. That's because they haven't figured it out. As soon as they figure it out, what that person is there to teach them, because that's all it is. They're put into your life to teach you. But before you came into the life, you set up the circumstances, and they agreed to come in to be a mirror, to be a test. I had that just a few days ago in one of the sessions. They said there were certain people put into this person's life to act as tests. Of course, they didn't know it. They didn't realize it at the time. But they're people that cross our path, and of course the longer they stay in our life, then the longer they're there to test us. Then when you understand it, those people will drop out of your life. They're not necessary anymore. Then you're ready to move on to the next lesson, which may or may not be easier. It may be harder, but at least it'll be different. But if you no longer react, and I know this is not easy for some people, if you no longer react, they get tired of it. They're not causing a reaction because to them it's a game. It's time to stop it all because we're moving into a whole new thing. And when you do, boy, you'll see your life change. But to some people, that's scary. I'm trying to give you something to think about anyway.